Chapter 3. Now what? The words came out louder than she had expected. The deafening music had put cotton in her ears. It wasn't until they stood here on the sidewalk outside of Nightcat that she realized how loud the music had been. She tilted her head from side to side as if that would help. Do you want to go for a beer? I'm not as old as you seem to think. We chose Nightcat because they let in 18-year-olds. Yeah, I like Nightcat. Mixed ages, different types of music. You and your friends made a good choice. He offered her his arm and started walking. Come on, 18-year-old girl, let's go to Söder. She observed with curiosity all the buildings and streets they passed. The night was mild, summer was on its way. Their stroll took half an hour but felt much shorter. To Jenny's surprise, Mr. Handsome was easy to talk to. He had something interesting to say about every street they walked on, every street lamp they passed. She listened attentively, eager to learn, as always. Although admittedly, being a Gothenburger, her knowledge of and interest in Stockholm was meagre. Peter chose a pub owned by a friend of his, making it easy for Jenny to get in, despite her age. The pub was old-fashioned with dark wood and soft lighting. Peter handed their jackets to the girl taking care of the cloakroom. He looked at Jenny, waiting for him, letting her hand trail along the bar top and looking around. Her interested, open way made him feel at ease, and the smile that never seemed to leave her face was contagious. Yeah, he had made a good choice tonight. He walked back and guided her towards the bartender with a hand in the small of her back. Have you ever had Belgian beer? Not as far as I know. Then I'll get you some now. You'll like it. He easily slid onto a bar stool. Jenny's short legs made it harder for her. He ordered and she picked up her wallet. She said she wanted to pay for her beer. He looked at her determined face and red wallet. It was just as worn as his, but it looked cheaper. Like something you get for free when you subscribe to a magazine. 18 years old? I guess that means you're still in school. She nodded. Then you're not making money. I am. I'll pay. She opened her mouth, but he stopped her protest with a finger on her lips. I'll pay. When you make money, I'll happily drink a beer from you. The bartender put their beers on the bar. Peter raised his glass. Cheers, Gothenburger. Cheers, Stockholmer. He shook his head and said he wasn't from Stockholm. Oh, you're not? Guess that's why you're not so snobby after all. His laughter was soft. She had already gotten used to it. She wanted to hear more of it. I'm as much of a Gothenburger as a Stockholmer. But where are you from originally? His shrug was as fluid as all his moves. Who cares? I live anywhere, everywhere. I don't like staying in one place for too long. Makes me feel trapped. I guess I'm simply a world citizen. He took a sip of his ale. There are so many places in the world. I like finding the gems in each place and then moving on. Sure, but if you move around all the time, you'll only find the good things. You won't experience them. She tried her beer. Yes, Belgian beer definitely tasted different. Maybe. But if I stay too long, the gems lose their sparkle. They become dull and everyday kind of dull. If you want to avoid an everyday type of life, you'll be on the move all the time. Yes, that's the way I like it. They played billiards on a small table at the back of the pub. For some reason, the balls didn't get where Jenny wanted tonight. She blamed it on the beer and giggled each time she shot, regardless if she hit or missed. He laughed along with her. It was impossible not to. When the pub was about to close, she hurried off to the bathroom and gave him her wallet so he could go get their jackets. He shook his head at her naivety and looked for the cloakroom ticket. He found her driver's license and lifted his eyebrows in surprise. She had a motorcycle license. Cool. Her name was Jenny Rosén. Moving with an air of confidence and offering his trademark charming smile, he easily slipped past the others in the queue. When they came out of the pub, Jenny balanced on the curb. It didn't take long until she stumbled. She blamed the sidewalk for moving. It's not the sidewalk, girl. You're drunk. I know, it's your fault, not mine. There was a glass in my beer. I mean, a beer in my glass all the time, and that beer wasn't normal. I could tell. No, it was a kind of Belgian beer. Higher alcohol content. Yeah, see? Your fault. You drank regular beer, you sissy. He looked closely at her, as if trying to get her into viewfinder on a camera. You're drunk, funny, pretty, and sweaty. I'm glad I danced with you. Me too. She still balanced as best as she could on the curb. You're a good dancer and you look great. And you're just a little cocky. Not too much. Cocky? She tilted her head and looked at his offended face for a moment. Yes, you sure are cocky. Or should we call it aware of your own exit excelling? Jeez, I'm slurring. She burst out in a loud giggle. Well, you think you're good. Excellence, that's it. That's what I wanted to say. Aware of your own excel something. I don't really agree with that. Let me put it this way. You know you look good. Why wouldn't I know that? There are mirrors. She laughed loudly. I rest my case. I look good, but that doesn't mean I think I'm better than anyone else. Okay, let's just say you're not modest. She suddenly found their discussion boring. What else do you have in this town? Are you tired of walking? Nope. Let's go on a sightseeing tour through Stockholm. It's livelier during the daytime, of course, but let's go. She jumped down from the sidewalk and grabbed his hand. 2 hours later, they had walked for miles, looked at a lot, talked and laughed. It felt natural to walk hand in hand, as if they had gotten to know each other during the night. It was the end of May, and it was already beginning to brighten. Oh, I want to see the sunrise. I want to see when the sun rises over the water. The water she referred to was Lake Mälaren, calm and dark blue in front of them. They found a bench at the quay and sat close to each other. When are you leaving Stockholm? Shh! When you look at the sunrise, you shouldn't talk. Just concentrate on the experience. He became silent and watched the sky before him. Of course he had looked at sunrises with girls before, but he had never focused on the actual sunrise. This time he did, and he was amazed by what he saw. The dark blue of the night gave way to the sun, one ribbon at a time. The soft colors spread across the sky and were reflected in the water. It was unique, yet the same way it had been since the first dawn. When the sky was more blue than pink, they had been silent for so long that it felt wrong to talk. Jenny turned to Peter and, for the first time, looked unabashedly at his face. In his face there was nothing too wide or too narrow. There was nothing out of place, nothing missing. The only thing that was asymmetrical was the fringe that hid his right eye, causing him to periodically flip his head to get it out of his face. Watching him was relaxing and exciting at the same time. If their eyes met for more than a few seconds, it felt like he saw more than she wanted a stranger to see. Yet he didn't feel like a stranger, not after this wonderful night. She wanted to thank him for one of the most amazing nights of her life, but no words would suffice. Instead, she leaned forward and let her lips touch his. He watched her so intensely it spread a fire in her. Even her earlobes burned. He put his hand behind her head and kissed her. When their lips finally parted, she put her hand on his chest and gently pushed him back. I've got to be at the museum at 9 tomorrow. I'd better get to the hostel. Peter nodded, waiting for his voice to return before he asked where she was staying and offered to call for a taxi. Her answer came quickly. No. She didn't want to leave him so abruptly. I'd love to walk there with you. With their arms around each other, they slowly walked toward the hostel, through a Stockholm that was slowly waking up. They didn't say anything. Everything had already been said. They knew they were walking towards a goodbye, and they were in no hurry. Once they arrived, it was past 5 o'clock. I have to get up in 3 hours. I don't think I'll appreciate the National Museum that much. She knew she should go into the hostel. She should try to get as much sleep as possible. Still, she lingered, unwilling to just leave. There was so much she wanted to say, but she couldn't find the right words. Hey, I've had a great... He interrupted her with a kiss. I know. He stroked her long hair. Sleep well, Gothenburger. He threw the fringe away, turned around, and left.